See, there's two cameras now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing is we'll have to ask people to walk behind us rather than in front of us. Okay, ready?
Just get small tefillah. Shalom. Last time we said that we're going to start showing the future of what's happening because we're going into very, very important times. Like we showed that we're coming in with big steps to the time of Mashiach. And one of the things I wanted to show, Bezrat Hashem, is the whole conflict of the Palestinian problem, what they call problem, and the wars that are going on within Israelis and Palestinians. Why are they going on? We see such suffering, and we see wars, and Israel is all the time just occupied with this thing, and we see Iran against us, and we see the whole world coming against us. And if it's not for the Torah, we have no answer to understand what's going on. What do we have to do with Iran? Why are they attacking us? We're not even near them. The whole Muslim world, and now the other world, at home, Europe, did we do anything to them? I mean, did we ever murder the Israeli or the Jewish people ever took people and murdered them, put them in ghettos, or whatever? Why is this going on? And that's why everybody is so confused. And of course, the answers to all this is the Torah. And the Zohar, the Kabalah, gives us the perspective of what's going on. We have to know that whatever is revealed to us, what we see with our eyes, is not the reason that things are happening. There is very inside the deep reasons whatever is being revealed. For example, Torah says sicknesses, lo alenu, which everybody should be healthy, Bezrat Hashem. Sicknesses. See, if somebody has, let's say, something in his eye. So he says, oh, something came in the eye, and that's why I have an eye ache, and maybe I'm getting old, and that's what's going on. There's many, many reasons. We don't know the reason, but we see something going on with the eyes. The Torah says one thing. It says, everything has a spiritual shoresh, root. And if something in the one ever is sick, it means that a person has to correct that part of his body. And when we see what to correct, it's very simple. The Torah says, midah keneged midah, which means to say, whatever is being, that part is sick, you have to see what you're doing in your life to improve and to go according to the Torah with that part of the body. So for example, if there's an eye sickness, we have to check ourselves to see what does the Torah says to do with the eyes. To look at things that are holy, not to look at immodest things, and to take care of our eyes in the spiritual way. And if somebody does not do that, then he has a correction with his eyes. We should all be healthy, and nobody should have any problems, health problems. That's not the shame. Same thing, look at the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. It looks like there's a problem with armies and the leaders are doing something, things that are not wrong or right. And but it's very, very confusing. You see that this is not really the reason. Why the Muslim world, who has billions and millions of acres, barren land that could be developed, is looking at a place, Israel, that is so small that you can hardly find it on the map of the world. And it's such a havoc for this country. Why? So let's see what the Zohar says. I'm reading Zohar, Sefer Vayera, Daf Lamed Bet, page Lamed Bet, Zohar. Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Chia, Abu Azra Be'orcha. Two of the sages were walking on the way. Rabbi Yossi asked Rabbi Chia, why are you quiet? You know, if you are walking, we have to talk Divrei Torah, we have to discuss Torah. This is what we have to do. It's a waste of time to just walk without talking Torah. Rabbi Chia started crying. He started saying, Divrei Torah. What's a Divrei Torah? He says, Vati Sarai Akara, En La Valad, Vai Alda. The pasuk that says Sarah was Akara, she had no kids. Oy vavoy, like they say, he's very sorry at that pasuk that she wasn't without any kids and she couldn't bring kids. Abraham took Hagar instead of Sarah. Not instead of Sarah, he took Hagar, in addition to Sarah, to have kids from her. And who was born? Ishmael. Ishmael was born. It says, Oy, on that time that Ishmael was born. Why? It says, why are you so sorry that Ishmael was born? Because it says after Ishmael, Yitzchak came. And that was the reason, really, that Abraham took Hagar, so that Yitzchak will come after that. אמר לי רבי חייא, את חמי ואנחה. You see Yitzchak, I'm looking at the wickedness that's coming out of Ishmael and the wickedness that he's going to do in the future for Israel. That's what it says here. And that's what we heard from the mouth of Rabbi Shimon. And that's why I'm crying. Why? Because he said, Oy al hazman hahu, Oy, on the time that Ishmael was born. Because Sarah couldn't bring kids. And she said to Abraham, marry Hagar so that I'll be built from her. I can have kids. And then Abraham married Hagar. And he prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about Ishmael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, but listen, you're praying about Ishmael, but Yitzchak is the Holy One. No, like a son has a love to all his kids, he was praying also for Ishmael. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, you know what, I'll give you a bracha, he's going to be a big number of people are going to come out of him. And what happened later? Ishmael had a bris until before Yitzchak came to the world. And that's why Rabbi Chia was crying. Why? Because of this, of the bris. It says, 400 years, the angel of Ishmael, who is called, whatever he's called, I'm not going to tell you, asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, told him, whoever has a bris, doesn't he have a part in Eretz Israel? Because Eretz Israel was promised after a bris. If anybody who does bris, Israel is according to kosher bris, yeah? It's promised to him. So why does Ishmael doesn't have a chelek, a part in Israel? He had a bris. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Yitzchak had a proper bris. Ishmael no. Yitzchak had a bris with a pri'ah. There's two parts to a bris. And Ishmael no.
He didn't have
pri'ah. And another reason, Israel does bris after 8 days, which is the mitzvah, the way to do it. He did the bris, Ishmael, after 13 years, when he was 13. The angel told him, even though he did the bris, so he doesn't have the right to live in Israel. What did the Kadosh Baruch Hu do? He took Ishmael, Bidvikut Ha'olyom, from the upper worlds and gave him a part to inhabit Israel. Why? Because of the Milah, the Bris Milah that he did. How long does this contract of Ishmael is going to live in Israel and want that country, what the Israel? 400 years. 400 years. That's the time he's got to be in Eretz Israel. And it says here very, very plainly, just amazing, ועתידים בני ישמעאל לשלוט בארץ הקדושה. בני Ishmael, the Muslims, are going to rule Eretz Israel a lot of time. As long as it's barren, as long as this country is barren, not giving any fruits, that's how long they're going to rule in Israel. כמו שהמילה, just like the bris that they did, was empty because it didn't have pri'ah and barren, then they will be ruling in Israel for that time. But the country will be also barren. Nothing is going to grow. If you look at the history books, you'll see many recordings of Eretz Israel at the time of the Turkish rule, which they're Muslims. That was almost 400 years ago. And you'll see that at that time there was nothing growing in Israel. They tried to grow fruits, they tried to grow vegetables. Israel was completely barren. Why is that? Because Israel was promised to, the country of Israel needs Jews to come in, and then it will flourish. It says here like this: the zchut of Bnei Ishmael, because of this milah, they're going to prevent the Jewish people from coming back to their country. And what are they going to do? And in the future, Rabbi Shimon, it's all Rabbi Shimon saying this, they're going to start wars, big wars in the world. And then what? See, you don't have to look at the news. I'm telling you. Here's the news. What's going to happen? Bnei Edom are going to start warring with them. The Christians are going to start big wars against the Muslims. And there's going to be 3 wars. One in the sea, one on the land, and one that's close to Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem. And then one time the Christians are going to win, one time the Muslims are going to win, but Eretz Israel לא יתמסר לבני אדום. Eretz הקדושה, the Holy Land, is not going to go to the Christian side. בזמן ההוא, at that time, יתעורר עם אחד מסוף העולם. There's going to be a race of people. He doesn't say who are they.
Sorry, you're talking about the Crusaders at the time then?
No, it says even now. This is all before Mashiach coming. They have all the time problems between each other. I don't know if the big war with the Gog and Magog didn't come yet. Bezrat Hashem, it already came. But if it didn't, and we hope that it came, if it would come, there's going to be a war, huge wars, before that, between the Christians and the Muslims. But there's going to be an addition, another part of people, another group of people are going to come. It doesn't say in the Zohar who they are. It's not Christians and they're not Muslims. Maybe it's Chinese, I don't know. And they're going to do a war for 3 months. And these people that are coming, they're going to win the Christians until all the Christians of the world will come together and they're going to do a big war. They're going to come together, Ishmael and the Christian side. They're going to come to the Gog and Magog, that's the big war that we know. And we should have known, B'ezrat Hashem. And at that time, when they start coming to Israel, they're going to fight against each other. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to finish this whole scenery. And Israel, B'ezrat Hashem, is going to be saved from this war, B'ezrat Hashem. So this is the problem that we have with the Muslims. They had a circumcision. That's why they have the ki'ilu, the right to be in Israel and prevent Israel from coming in. That's going to take 400 years. It looks like the 400 years are over. And whenever you have something that's over, the other side, the Yetzer Hara, starts kicking very, very hard because he knows that his time is over. That's why in the end of times, where we are now almost, you see that the Yetzer Hara is fighting very, very hard. You see that the evil has a big war with the good. All over the world it's happening. You see there's a corruption, there's all kinds of, I don't have to tell you, you see the news every day. You see that the evil side is starting to kick very, very hard. Before, a few years ago, it was not obvious. But now it was always like in a disguise, the evil side. Now it's up front. Up front, you see the other side just coming in and starting to have wars and starting to lie and starting to do all kinds of things. But this process is going to be over. Just like anything that's before it's over, it gives the last kicks. These are the last kicks, B'ezrat Hashem Yibarach. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should be meriting with a big zchut to the Geula. I just wanted to say one more thing. Let me see how much now we're out of time. Yeah. Just like we said, everything has a root to whatever we see. I want to explain one thing. To win the wars, to be victorious, talking about Israel, we need zchut, we need merits. It has nothing to do, merits have nothing to do with tanks and bombs and aircraft. Merit is something spiritual. The more mitzvot we have, there's a balance every day that's balancing us. On each person, every Jew has a balance upstairs, and B'ezrat Hashem, it does only mitzvot. This balance is always to the upside. B'ezrat Hashem, it will always be like that. But who is balancing the merits of Israel? B'ezrat Hashem, everybody should be coming to tshuva very soon, but there's a lot of people that are not doing mitzvot. Who is balancing all this? The people who are learning Torah, the yeshivot, the kollelim. And I want to explain this very, very well, because even people that are far from the Torah should know that the merits and the mitzvot are the ones who are saving us. I have all the respect to the army. There's no doubt they're coming, they're going on to the war, they're sacrificing their lives. That's a big mitzvah, yes. But there's also a lot of things that are going on. There's almost anti-Semitism in Israel, Shabbat, modesty. A lot of things we have to improve. But until we improve all this, the ones that are learning Torah, they are the ones who are meriting us to be victorious in the wars. And that's written in the Torah. It's not something that the religious people wrote. This is something that Hashem said in the Torah. We're doing just what Hashem says in the Torah. So this point is very, very important to know. If we want to have a good life, want to do whatever Hashem says, we have to support Talmidei Chachamim and know that the merit of Israel is in their hands. Toda Rabba.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, sure.
You said it was a period of 400 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when it started to counting?
One thing with the Torah, it's very, very hard to know how to count for the years. Just like when it says that when they went to Egypt, they were supposed to go for 400 years there.
Yeah.
And they only were there 210 years, because Hashem counted it from the birth of Yitzchak. So, and also in Daniel, and where every Haman, Purim, when you have dates, if we knew exactly the dates, then there would be no free choice. You know, if we know everything, that's. But we know it's 400 years. Where does it start? Where does it end? We have no idea these 400 years. But we know there was a Turkish rule,
Yeah.
and there's now Arabs here.
Yeah.
So it must be very, and they're fighting very hard for this now. So
But it
must
sounds
be
like
almost-
the Christian fighting the Muslims. It sounds like the time of the Crusades, to me.
It's always the same thing. They're fighting. You have all wars are religious wars, but it doesn't look like a religious war, but it is. You see the main thing there. They're talking about the Muslims are saying it, but
The Muslims
Christians,
are saying
that they are like it's
Yeah,
a crusader
yeah,
war. Yeah. And nothing new under the sun. Everything is reincarnations, and it all comes back again. Next week, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll talk about the future, about other things.
Zak Baruch.
Ein chadash mitachat hashemesh.
Ein chadash lechadash.
Very good.
What happened before?
Rav Shulam.
Next,
Sorry, we started a bit late.
runner up.
Rav David, next time,
The pen.
Yeah.
Wow, you should have told me.
I didn't. I realized just afterwards.
It's a Dutch pen. It's orange.
It's nice.
So next week is Wednesday, but it's hang on. Shavuot is Tuesday. Shavuot is when is Shavuot next week?
Shavuot.
It's Monday night and Tuesday. So Wednesday we should be able to have a class.
Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, something?
It's Monday night, Tuesday. Shalom. I'm delighted to say that we have now 3 Alshech classes a week.
Oh, what's the third one?
We have a beginner's class, an intermediate class, and you're taking the advanced class.
Ah,
So
different
3 different levels, and
on the same, not the same subject.
no. We start at the beginning of the parasha, just the first sentence, the first
Ah,
paragraph.
wow, so we're really
And-
getting Alshech going.
Yeah,
Exactly.
thank God.
Shavuot is Wednesday.
And it's Wednesday, Shavuot.
Yeah.
So Tuesday night, sorry.
Tuesday
Yeah,
night. is
So there's
the
no
night.
lesson on Wednesday.
Tuesday night it starts.
And then probably
Sunday,
not-
if you want.
Sunday. Okay. Okay, I'll try to
Yes,
do
we
that.
want.
Huh?
Yes, we want.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, this is yours. Do you have any?
Which one? I gave my copy. You can use this. Yeah, I gave my copy to. Oh, this is my.
Truth is the truth.
I'll give you one. So
What's the new layout now? Every few weeks.
this is Rab Meir suggested that we did this way as a because you get the achal in the background and it's nice. Okay, so let's start. We're doing this today's learning. Leilun Shema, Dalia Bat Marcel, and Aaron Ben Shlomo, whose yortzites are coming up in Shavuot.
You want to be
We're going to begin the parasha today, Parashat Bamidbar, and we'll try and get at least a sizable amount done. B'ezrat Hashem. So, וידבר השם משה במדבר סיני באוהל מועד, דרך בחודש השני, ושם השני נמצאת בבית מצרים לבא. So Hashem is talking to the Jewish people. It mentions that it's the location, it's in Midbar Sinai. It mentions the date specifically, and obviously Rav Moshe Alshech is going to take us through a bunch of questions and irregularities in the wording. So we'll go through them. Let's start. V'davar Hashem on Midbar Sinai, Ra'u Asim Lev. We should pay attention to the following. Aleph, number 1, we need to understand. Lama Hodiyana Makom HaAmira. Why does Hashem need to? Why does the Torah need to let us know the location of where this was taking place? Mashalo Asakim Zulat Makom Zeh. Nowhere else in the Torah does it say Vaydaber Hashem El Moshe b'Midbar Sinai b'Oel Moed. 2 things. First of all, Midbar Sinai, the geographical location, And also Bo'el Moed, the fact that it was in the tent of the meeting place, that also says Rav Alshech. Number 2, Amro Bo'el Moed, mi lo yeda ki shami davarimo. Is it not already known that that is the place where Hashem communicates with Moshe? Number 3, Amro B'echad B'chodesh Hashemi, the date of the first day of the second month. Why was it important to know the date? So maybe the day of the month is important, or the month is important, but why is it important to know it was the second year of the Exodus? Number 4, Amra Sa'u'et Rosh. This is a question, which is an interesting one. Why do we call counting people to lift their heads? What is getting them a census of the population? Why do we use the wording of Nesi'at Rosh, which means lifting heads? What lifting heads have to do with counting? Number 5, Lama Hikbediyeh the Mishpachotam Bet Avutam. Why does it have to be counted based on the family? What does the family aspect have to do with the counting? If you want to get a final number, it doesn't make a difference what people's family tree is.
Is there a difference between Mishpachotam and Beit Avotam? Are they two different things or they're the same thing?
It's two different things. One's explaining the next, meaning it could be family, there's maternal and paternal. So Beit Avotam is saying to go with the paternal line. That's the defining factor in the tribe.
I see.
What is the aspect of it being names involved and the head count? Again, we're looking at heads. And all of this will be explained, obviously, as we go along into getting into the idea of what counting is.
This phrase, B'mispar Shemot, also very strange, no? B'mispar Shemot?
Number of names.
Yeah.
Number 6, שאחר שלא לצאת לצבא היה המספר, למה נמנו מבני 20 שנה? Why? What's the significance of 20 plus? The Torah says 20 plus is the age of being drafted to the Jewish army, but what does this have to do with the census, which has nothing to do with the army? We weren't planning to go to war now. Number 7, אמרו לצבותם, והיה לומר תפקדו את צבותם, אך באמרו אותם לצבותם, נראה שהם דבר אחד, צבותם דבר אחר. So you're saying that there's like them, and there's to their hosts, to their numbers, to their gatherings. What is the specific mention of them being a group?
He's saying that Otam Letzivutam is one thing, and Letzivutam and Vetzivutam is another thing? I don't understand his phraseology of that question. I mean, I understand him saying there's no need to say the Otam if you're going to say Letzivutam, that the Otam is redundant, extra, but it sounds like he's saying that they're two different things.
Yeah.
Otam Letzivutam is one thing, and Vetzivutam is another. Right?
They're saying Shehem Davar Echad, which would be referring to Otam. Otam is them. And then Letzivutam is a new way of referring to them, like almost like referring to them and as them as Letzivutam.
So the
fact
head
that it has Lamed makes it seem that there's two separate references to the people.
So when he says Shehem, he's talking about the Otam.
Right.
I see.
Number 8. Lama lo tziref et Rashi Avot HaMateh im Moshe v'Aaron. So when we move on to the actual counting, it says that Hashem tells Moshe and Aaron to do the counting, and he tells them to enlist the help of the chiefs of the tribes. And he doesn't say that you, Aaron, and the chiefs should do the counting. It says you, Aaron, should do it, and along with you, the chiefs. So it seems the chiefs are secondary. So what is the difference? Why can't they all be considered one group work as doing the same thing? But why doesn't he include them in one sentence? But Yomar, he should have said, you, Aaron, and the chiefs. Instead, the pasuk says, like that Moshe and Aaron are the heads of the counting, and then they're just coming along for the ride. So what is the significance of them being secondary?
So what's the meaning of Kenit Palim?
It means just coming along, like a tafel, secondary.
Secondary, yeah.
Gam amro ish rosh lebeit avotav hu. Amro hu miyutar. The word hu, it's interesting. It says 3 times hu in the same sentence.
Is it?
It says ish lebeit avotav hu. Amro hu miyutar.
Oh yeah,
Because it's
On
common.
Alshech splits it.
In the old Alshech, there isn't such good bolding and commas.
Yeah.
They did a good job here. So just the word who, it should have just said ish rosh lebeit avotav. Each man was the chief of his family. Who is superfluous. Number 9, lama piresh shmotam. What was the significance of knowing the names of these chiefs? V'odom ro v'yikach Moshe. It says Moshe took the people that were explicitly mentioned by name. Why does it not just say, and Moshe took them? Who's them? The list that we just mentioned very clearly of the 12 psukim. What was the need to say? It would be obvious that the them is the people that we just mentioned. Number 10, Amro kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe, vadai ki kasher tziva Hashem hayta. The gam Amro, because meaning it says what he did. He took the people. So, and we just saw that Hashem told him to do it. So, what's the need to mention that when we actually say what he did, and then to say that was what Hashem told him to do, and that's obvious. Meaning sometimes it wouldn't say that what he did, it would just say Hashem told him to do something, so and so, and it says he did as Hashem said. But here it actually spells out what he did, so there's no need to say that it was what Hashem said. Number 11, before that he says, Gam amro vayifkedem b'midbar Sinai, ki hayalo lomar vayifkedum.
Yeah, I didn't understand the grammatical implication of v'yifkedum as opposed to.
So he explains in the bottom here that it depends if you're looking at it as plural or singular. Who was doing the counting? Moshe was doing the counting, or the Moshe and Aaron? So
Well, surely he said Moshe and Aaron. He said Moshe and Aaron do the
exactly.
So that's plural anyway.
Tifkedu means that you both should do the counting.
Yeah.
But then when it says that they did it, it says vayifkedem and he counted them, referring to only Moshe.
Ah, I see.
So why suddenly are we referring to only Moshe doing the job when it says it was executed?
So v'yifkedum is plural. V'yifkedu
Vayifkedem
Vayifkedem is singular.
Mm-hmm. That's what he explains here in Zayin and Chet in the bottom. Number 11, Mi lo yedasha yavim midbar Sinai. Again, when it comes to the actual execution, it again mentions it was in midbar Sinai. Number 12, Amro vayiyu ma shelo ne'emar lashon zeh b'chol hash'ar. So what's the reference to? Have access to that thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is already going into the actual count. It says Vayu b'nei Reuven.
Right.
Starts off saying and they were, and whereas the other ones just says the people of Shimon, the people of Gad. It doesn't say and they were. So what's significant about it?
You mean livnei? They would say
It
livnei.
says livnei, right?
Right.
וגם מה שהיה בראובן ושמעון נאמר לגולגול אותם, מה שלא נאמר בשום אחד מהשבטים זולתם. Only the first two tribes, Reuven and Shimon, says מספר שמות לגולגול אותם.
What do you understand by the word legulgulutam?
It's like a head count. You already mentioned that they were all counted to the head count, which we again already asked what that means. What's trying to point out. But when it comes to the actual counting, it only mentions it with the first two tribes. And then he says, "V'gam b'Shimon nitasaf b'dat pekudav, ma shelo ne'emar b'shum shevet." When it comes to Shimon, it says, "V'bnei Shimon tolatam shpatam v'dam pekudav v'mispar Shimot."
What does pikudav mean?
His numbers, his counted ones. Right, it says the pekudehem, the count. So for some reason it mentions the count. His counted came out to be this number. Number 13, Lama mazkir yotzei tzava b'chol echad ma'ashvatim. Every time it mentions every tribe, it says again, kol zacham ben asum shalom, amala kol yotzei tzava. Again and again and again, even though we've mentioned it as a rule regarding the whole entire account. Number 14, Lama lo nizkor hashvatim k'sidran. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, v'lo yikanes Gad b'intayim. What's the strange order here? And already he's going to hint to the answer already here. He says, "Well, if you want to say that it's according to the order of the actual encampment of the Jewish people around the Mishkan."
You're translating the Galim as encampment as opposed to flags?
Flags, yeah. But the order of the flags was the camping. Yeah, I wasn't being strict with the translation. So it was good that each camp carried a flag. There was a Degel Machne Yehuda, a Degel Machne Reuven, and there was 3 tribes. Every camp had three tribes under one flag. So this is actually the order of the counting here. Already indicates that it has to do with the settling into the specific camp.
I thought that each tribe had its own had its own flag. You're saying each of the 4 groups of tribes had a flag. There were 4 tribes.
Each group of 3 had the flag.
Yeah.
That had in it 3 different colors, I believe. But it was mainly, I'm not sure. It was mainly flying the flag of one of them, the head one. It was called the flag of the camp of Reuven, and along with Reuven was Shimon and Gad. But later on, it does say in the pasuk that each flag had each shevet had its own color. Rashi says every flag had a color, and each shevet had its own color based on the color of the stone in the choshen, right? So, let's see. Right, so here he brings, according to Targum Yonatan, each banner included all the colors of its 3 tribes. Right, so
It's like a composite flag.
something like that. It's like Union Jack maybe in
Yeah, yeah,
when they
Yeah.
have all 3,
yeah.
But somehow it seems that it was still separate, but because the colours weren't mixed together. Like Reuven is ruby red and Shimon is like green. So, yeah, I don't know. I wonder how it looked.
Adain.
So he's basically saying, at this stage in the parasha, when we're doing the census, it doesn't seem to indicate anything to do with the future encampments based on the flags and the groups. So basically, he's already starting to hint to his whole approach here, that the counting was the pre-counting to get to the eventual surrounding encampment around the Mishkan.
Right.
It's not obvious, at least. This is the only hint, the fact that the
Right.
order is strange. Another question, number 15. Ba'omra ila fkudim asher pakad Moshe ish echad lebeit avotav hayu ki me'omra ish echad v'hala hu meyutar. So here we're going back all the way to the end of the count. It says that he took these are the countings that Moshe and Aaron did and the tribe chiefs. Ish echad lebeit avotav hayu. There was 12 tribes, 1 per tribe. 12 chiefs, 1 per tribe. So he's saying that once you've mentioned that that there's 12 tribes, 1 for each tribe, what is it saying again? The bit avotav hayu, the fact that he's part of the paternal connection to the tribe. We know that already. Number 16. Amrava yu kol pekudei b'nei Israel ki hinei kol pasuk zehu miyutar. Pasuk 45 just says that the counting of the Jewish people was the paternal counting based on 20 people, 20 years old plus, anyone eligible for draft into the army. And then it says that the count was, the next pasuk mentions the amount. So this entire introductory pasuk is literally saying nothing new in any way, shape or form. It's not saying the amount, it's just saying who we counted, which we know already, over and over again. We should have just gone straight to the next pasuk to say the final amount. All of the information provided in this pasuk has already been shared. Number 17, the next parasha mentions that the tribes of Levi, the tribe of Levi, were not counted amongst the Jewish people. Now, it says that the tribes of the tribe of Levi were not counted to their paternal line of family line. That can be misleading to sound like they were counted, but just not to the paternal line. But obviously, that's not the point. The point was that they weren't counted at all. So why mention the fact when you say you're not counting them? Why are you mentioning the fact that how you would have counted them, you didn't? That just makes it confusing.
Right.
You should just mention they weren't counted. Number 18, the final question. So he's asking two questions. So he's asking every tribe, when it mentions the count, it says Libnei Binyamin, to the count of Binyamin. To the people of Binyamin. Or the answer says for the people of Binyamin. But it could have just said the people of Binyamin. And the fact is that two of the tribes don't have the lamed before the word Bnei.
Reuven and
Reuven and
Naphtali.
Gad. Reuven and which?
Naphtali, I think. Is it?
And Naphtali, yeah. Reuven and Naphtali, which seems to be very odd. He's asking, first of all, if they all have it, then they should all have it. But then, even if the question is really bigger, there's why do we have it at all?
Okay.
Okay, let's get to it. What is the purpose at all for this count, for the census? We've already been counted, the Jewish people have been counted a few times already, so we need to understand what is this count for at all. So as Rashi says, Pirush Rashi, Shehu Al-Sheba Lahashrot Shechinato Mishkan Menan. Because Hashem's coming now to rest His Shekhinah in the Mishkan amongst the Jewish people, so He's going to count the Jewish people. So now, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, what's the counting got to do with the resting of the Shekhinah on them?
Right. So Rashi doesn't really explain. You see, it seems to be that counting, Rashi says elsewhere, counting shows a certain, Rashi says it here as well, but it shows a certain level of endearment that doesn't count the money, even though you know already how much it is, that you just want to go through that again and feel good about it. And it seems to be that because the Shekhinah is coming to rest, there's a expression of that love coming forward now with the Mishkan having the Shekhinah in it, and so the counting is kind of goes along with that.
Is the expression of your love? Counting is the expression of God's love to us?
That's what Rashi says. B'toch chibatan, out of his love, he's constantly counting them. Counting can also be uniquely and connecting with each individual Jew.
Yeah.
So now he's going to explain, Rav Alshech, a little bit more about what the Shekhinah business is. The kasher. So he says, Rashi is saying that the reason for the counting is the Shekhinah resting. The kasher, she'imkein kodem lisan, o be'lisan atzmo haya ra'udim notam. When did the Shekhinah come to rest in the Mishkan? On the first day of Nisan. That's when the Mishkan was inaugurated. So now we're holding a month later. So either on the day the Mishkan was inaugurated or beforehand, in order to prepare for that's when the count should have been. Why is the count a month later? That seems quite rather odd. Not a month later, the second month. Now we're going to go to one of the questions, which was, we had a question in question number 14. Why is Gad thrown in there along with Reuven, Shimon,
Right.
and that seems to be out of place? Why is God ben Shimon Yehuda? This is coming to show us ki me'ata, already from now, haya remez el inyana de galim. It's hinting that the Jews are going to be camping with flags and groups. Gad and Shimon b'degel machne Ruvain. Gad and Shimon were together in a 3-tribe camp. So now, once we've realized that this, the counting is in preparation to the camps, now we'll understand what's going on. Now let's get into it. The Midrash in Midrash Rabbah and Bamidbar in this parasha says, Al Pasuk, they quote a Pasuk in Shir HaShirim. It says, V'diglo alai ahava. It says that when the Jewish people were in the Matan Torah, they saw the angels, the hosts of angels coming along with Hashem when he revealed himself at the giving of the Torah. And they saw that the angels were camped in a way that there was 4 flags and 4 sides. They saw the angels were set up in camps of 4 flags. Degel Michael, Degel Gabriel, Degel Nuriel, Degel Raphael. Right, Michael to the south, Gabriel to the north, Nuriel and Raphael to the east and the west. They suddenly desired and had this wish that we should also have this version of Shekhinah resting with 4 sides of encampment. Zehu l'diglo alai ahava. They wanted Hashem's banner and flag to be upon them with love. Ki az gadla chalatam b'zchut haTorah. So really, they were actually ready for this level of Shekhinah, based on the fact that they received the Torah. But unfortunately, the relation it's called Kalu, Bekarov, Maseh Egel. Almost immediately after, they already sinned with the golden calf. So when, after 3 months later, 3 times 40 days later, they received an atonement, the day after Yom Kippur, so now he's explaining what took so long, if the desire for this version of camping was already present at the Torah, at Shavuot. What took now almost a year later to the first day of the 2nd month? So he says because that was all because of the sin of the Egel. And that took 3 times 40 days until they got the atonement. Then they got the second Luchot and the news that they're going to be building a Mishkan, which they were busy with until Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And now we can start discussing actually implementing this desire that they had. When it's Peru, they were busy with the building and assembling the Mishkan at Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Already the first day of Nisan, a year later, 30 days after the Mishkan was erected, Bahu Yitbarach came the Lord Almighty, to give them to fulfill their desire. They should also be resting in this way of 4 camps. So now he's going to explain what this process was and why it took so long. At Har Sinai, the Jewish people weren't actually worthy of the revelation that they were exposed to. The Shekhinah rested upon them, and the spirit of prophecy was revealed to them while they were awake, not in a dream. And that was too much for them to bear. They saw the thunder and the voice and the sound. Their souls departed their bodies because they weren't prepared. Their bodies weren't purified enough to be able to withstand such intense revelation. There wasn't enough strength in their bodies, this bol kedusha kol kach gedola, to be able to withstand such holy kedusha. V'nisharu pegarim meitim, they lay there, their bodies lay there as corpses dead on the floor. So now we've learned our lesson that we have to be taken into account the abilities of the Jewish people and on their level of being able to receive this level of spiritual revelation. Okay, what did Hashem do now? He brought it now in steps, in increments. He made it, first of all, be in 3 steps. Hashem made it now be channeled through 3 steps of lowering the intensity. So we have the Mishkan, where the Shekhinah is resting in the Oel Moed, in the Kodesh Kodeshim. That's level number 1. Level number 2 is the Levites. They were surrounding the Mishkan right close by. The Jewish people were a mil away, 2,000 cubits away. So like to have a filter to the level of revelation, as he's going to explain now. Hashem in His infinite wisdom decided that it will be appropriate for them to be able to do it, to receive this light. Lasot shlosha machnot, machne shchina b'toch HaMishkan. The Shechina will rest in the Mishkan. The Saviv LaMishkan, surrounding that, Machane Leviyah. V'ad shnei masar mil, the Jewish people, the regular Jewish people's camp was from a mil out of the Mishkan, and it expanded all the way to 12 mil.
12 mil?
12 mil. 12 mil is actually, that's how started from a mil away, and then it went all the way to 12.
Where does it say that?
He brings here, in the bottom here, in number 3, with the square brackets, that the Gemara actually brings it as well. That was actually the count of the Jewish people, 12 mil, and this is one of the proofs to the size of a Tchum Shabbat according to biblical law.
Yeah, but Tchum Shabbat is 2 mils.
The Tchum Shabbat is 1 mil actually.
1 mil.
1
So
mil is
yeah,
2,000
2.
amah, but 12 mil, according to the opinions that Tchum Shabbat is D'oraita, it's 12 mil biblically, and the rabbis limited it to 1 mil. But the original space that is considered a space that is one habitat is taken from this.
How
The
interesting.
Jewish people's original mass of space that they
I mean,
took up.
what is that in terms of space? Like, if the Beit HaMikdash was in Tzfat, like how far away would we be camped?
Yeah, quite far. 12. I think it's 12 mil in total, not
12.
in
How
this
long
direction.
is it from here to Rosh Pina?
By road? By air.
By air.
By air. By air, it's short, about I think 3-4 kilometers.
That's
No,
all?
less.
No.
3.
The 12
So
was
it's-
like 24 kilometers. It's quite large.
It was
Huge.
more like Tiberias then.
All the way to Tiberias. Yeah, it was a big camp traveling. I mean, there was 600,000 people. You know, it takes up space. How many people? It's like 10,000.
Yeah.
30,000.
So yes, that was the site. So the spreading out of the space was not only practical in terms of spacing, it was also filtering out the level of intensity of revelation. ועד 12 מיל מחנה ישראל בארבעה דגלים כמחנה אלוהים, just as the camps of the angels. Now, this is interesting because, yeah, we're going to see this a little bit later. We're going to explain more. So besides the fact that he was going to filter it in terms of space, there was also a process of preparation that we learned from our mistakes. That Har Sinai, even though we had the 49 days of the Omer, apparently that wasn't enough, because this is essentially afterwards. So therefore, the building the Mishkan, which took half a year, was part of this process of preparation. So they built the Mishkan, and then the Shekhinah rested in the Mishkan. So first of all, step number 1, mission successful. The Shekhinah, first day of Nisan, the Shekhinah is resting on the Mishkan. Begeder Hashra'at Shechina b'Mishkan Chodesh Yamim. Now that there's been a 30-day period where the Shekhinah is successfully resting in the Mishkan, so now the free trials ended. This was scribed now for good. So there's no going back from that. 30 days of having the Shekhinah in their midst, albeit not resting upon them, but on the Mishkan. But now that it's between them, now we can go up to phase 2.
It means the 30 days is a chazakah.
Right, chazakah of a. We can do this. 30 days, testing. We're good.
Right.
So now we can move on to the next phase, which is liot nasim hem atzmam merkava. Now that they can have the Shekhinah in their midst, now we can go on to phase 2, where they themselves are a chariot to the.
Which is why you now need the flags.
Right. Here we're starting the flag phase.
I see.
And this is what the angels. This is how the angels camp, and we're going to go into this in a minute. What is the significance of these 4 sides, etc. Assume arba machnot. The way a human being, or the way any being would be a merkava for Hashem to rest upon them, is in this way of having 4 camps on 4 sides, as he'll elaborate soon. Alshech Academy kol ham am Yisrael, in order to be able to bring down the kedusha to all the multitudes of different Jews. As we said before, the Leviyah is the middle diminishment of the energy to enable it to come down to the regular Jews. So Hashem said that the Levites should rest right around the Mishkan, so they're absorbing the intense energy first.
But they weren't counted. But they weren't counted. If we're saying that counting is a form of love and the bonding between God and the people,
no, they were counted separately.
Yeah, but not at this stage.
They were counted later.
Later they were counted.
No, they were counted straight after the mention of the.
Yeah, but if you're saying that there's a time phasing and a location phasing. The location phasing, the Mishkan first, then the Levim, and then the tribes. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And so surely the Levim should be counted first, and then the Ben Israel. No, we're seeing the Ben Israel is counted first.
Interesting. I mean, it could be that the Levim, they didn't sin with the golden calf. They were only trying to sin, so they needed less preparation.
Very good.
So it could be that they were there already.
Right, they were already there. They didn't need the prep.
You also see that they didn't need to be split into 4 camps in the same way. They were kind of split
into
4 in their own way. But not with like the 4 times 3, the specific. Right. So they were more of a different type of version of this rebel being. They had this intermediary job.
Right.
Okay, so now he's going to bring here from the Zohar. Every camp of the angel chariots, there's 3 heads. Michael, Ushnei Rashim Lamata Amen Machaneel. So the camp of Michael has him as a head, as a chief of that camp, and there's 2 below him. V'chen Gabriel, Ushnei Rashim Tachtav, V'chen Raphael, V'chen Nuriel. Kanoda Hashem Shneim Asar Malachim. Altogether, there's 12 angels in the camp of the angels. It's very interesting because we know of the Merkava in Yecheskel.
It's
talks
4.
About the Merkava which is a higher Merkava of the bull, the lion, the eagle, and the face, the human face. And there it's also the same way, that there's 3, each one has 3 altogether. Because there's the face itself and then the other ones included in it. So there it's actually 4 in 4. Because there's the main one and the other 3 included in it. But it's the same in the way that the Kabbalists explain it, is that the chariot is in the world of Bria and the angels are in the world of Yetzirah. So this is the chariots we're talking about here, is the angels in the world of Yetzirah, which it's a reflection of the Merkava in the higher worlds, which is where the angels aren't in such multitudes. The multitudes happen in the lower like in
So
further.
Michael and Gabriel, and the heads, are they also in Bria, or
They're in Yitzira.
they're also they're all in Yitzira?
Yeah.
What's in Bria then?
The bull and the lion. Because the bull and the lion are different type of angels. There's also the seraphim on the world of Bria, but there the Merkava isn't angels are already a more filtered down level where they already have a personality almost. They're like the personalities without bodies, so they're already creations of some kind. That's the low level. But again, it's all the same thing. And we actually Rashi brings that when Yaakov passed away, his coffin was taken to Eretz Israel, and they carried it
in
way.
that order.
And that is really the highest level of Merkava, because Yaakov Avinu resembled the Adam of Atzilut, and his children were the Merkava to him. As it says before he passed away, that he said, "Is the Shekhinah resting on you all?" And they said that just like you're one, right? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. They said that just like you're in the level of oneness, we're also in the level of oneness by being a chariot to Yaakov. So that they kind of started this, and this is now happening to their grandchildren, great grandchildren.
So just take us through that. You're saying that Yaakov would have been Atzilut, yes?
Right, Yaakov is the
And then his
Aaron
sons
came.
were Bria,
so the Shvatim are the level of Baruch Shem Kod Malchuto, which is already ruled with Bria.
and then
They're
what
the
was
chariot
it?
to Yaakov's oneness. So the idea of the chariot is taking the separation of 4 different directions and 12 different tribes, and the aspect of 12 also has a expression within 4, because anything that has 4 directions really has 6 directions, because there's also up and down, and then there's the meeting point of all the directions, which is known in Sefer Yetzirah as the 12 borders of diagonal borders. Right, a cube of 6 has 12 meeting points.
Mhm.
So that exists when the 12 kind of come together to be 4, and then to carry the one.
So in that example, what was the Yetzirah then? If Yaakov was
There's no
Atzilut,
Yetzirah there. That's like higher than Yetzirah.
I see.
But again, this was happening within the level of the Avot being a Merkava to these ideas, and the Shvatim being a continuation of that.
I see.
But in the worlds, it's angels and the general Merkava. So now the Jewish people wanted to actually be able to be on this level as a nation. So now he's going to go into the different numbers of the Malachim. So he says, Od Yadanu. Oh, are we doing the time?
Just
Continue for a little bit, right?
Yeah, just do
Od Yadanu, ki im shenimtzeu shiurim chalukim b'malachei HaMerkava. So there's different versions of how many angels are involved in the Merkava. It says Ribotayim Alfei Shinan. So there's 2 different opinions whether there was Ribotayim is 2 times 10,000, that's 20. Alfei is 2 times 1,000, so that was 2. So in this pasuk, in this Tehillim 68, has a very interesting description of the Matan Torah. It's about the mountain of Sinai and the angels, etc. And there it mentions that Hashem came, Hashem Sinai Bakodesh, Ribotayim Alfei Shinan, he came with thousands, with multitudes of 10,000 and multitudes of thousands. So there's one opinion that says that there was 22,000. The Gemara brings a different version, where the word Shinan is used as She'inan. So it's saying 20,000 minus 2,000. Take away 2,000 off of 20,000, you end up with 18,000. And the Gemara says that Hashem has 18,000 worlds connected to Chai, right? It's 18,000. And so that's one version. And we see another version, the Famim Shishim Ribo, that the Malachim is 600,000 Malachim. What is the difference in these levels of the multitudes of angels?
So how many, instead of 20, it would have been how many? Like 120. Is that what he's saying? So you said 60 instead of
60 times 10,000, 600,000. He brings 3 different versions of how many angels are in the chariot.
60 times 10,000, so 600,000.
600,000. So he says, whenever there's a strong expression, the time is auspicious for Hashem is like giving an extraordinary revelation of will and kedusha. That's when the 600,000 angels basically just like an overflow of revelation. V'chein haya b'matan Torah Moshe Amru Chazal sheyardu im hashchina shishim ribo malachei asheret. Each angel had 2 crowns. The kashrushnik tarim barosh kol echad Yisrael. Each angel put 2 crowns upon each Jew. When they accepted the 2 tablets, the luchot, became crowns on their heads.
So 600,000 angels came with
the
1,200, 1.2 million crowns.
Right. And when they were taken away, it came 1.2 million angels. Because taken away, you need 1 for each, as the Gemara mentioned. The kasher nit avu Yisrael yat merkava kehem haya lahem kashirahu. The Jewish people also had 600,000 at that time. Yaflagat kedusha yesh b'Yisrael v'yotam kashir azeh kanada ki al ken nityakhda bracha lemor al shishim ribo baruch hacham harazim. There's a special bracha you make when a person sees 600,000 Jews. So why? That shows that there's a specific kedusha of 600,000 Jews, and that's why when the Jews reached this number of population, they were now revealing this level of kedusha that was present at Sinai, and that enabled them to receive this level of Shekhinah resting. So he explains here what's unique about having 600,000 Jews. Ki yesh b'chol nafshotam kol bechinot kol chelkei Torah al pi achizat kol ruach v'nefesh v'lushat arot ha'leonot Shabbat. Every Jew has his unique part of the Torah. So when we have a gathering of 600,000 Jews, that is the gathering of the entire Torah as expressed through the Jews. And therefore, there's a level of wholeness that exists in a group of 600,000 Jews, and that's what and this is the wholeness of Kedusha coming down in its most complete version. So I think we'll leave it at this for
Very good.
Time.
It's so nice that it's interesting that Hashem wanted to illuminate your face, so he brought the sun right at the same time.
You can actually maybe move the tail a little bit backwards.
Yeah, you can do. You're more comfortable. Yeah. Okay.
What time
Second.
I come back?
I was planning to leave at 5:30. So.
All right. I'll go eat something.
Yeah, go eat and then. Okay.
What's at 5:30?
A handover.
Change of
Change of what is it?
responsibility.
No, in the Queen. Change of guards.
Change of guard. Change of guard. That's a better expression.
Push this traffic forward.
Yeah.
Forward. Because the sun is going that way.
I know, but forward there's no way to go forward, is there?
Yeah,
it's
true.
No, it's fine.
I'll move again.
Okay. Ready?
Around 20 minutes.
Okay, see.
Yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We will be continuing with Tzfat Israel, reading the first chapter, traditional chapter of Shir Hashirim. Hopefully we'll finish either today or tomorrow. It's very interesting because Shir Hashirim is always connected to Hashem's love for the Jewish people and the receiving of the Torah and the process of Shavuot and everything. So I'm going to read the Targum. The Targum is very interesting on Shir Hashirim because it brings lots of it basically summarizes the version of the allegory that the rabbis took out of the psukim. So we'll just go. I'm going to read the English version of the simple translation that I've got here from the Safaria. So just to remember again what the simple translation is. So the translation of Yishakenu and Shikot Bihu Ki Tovim Dodecha Miyayin. Give me the kisses of your mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. So we're talking about kisses, we're talking about comparing the love to wine. So we're talking about the mouth aspect. So we'll get into that. What is the mouth? What is the wine? Then, l'reach shmanecha tovim, your ointments yield a sweet fragrance. We're going into fragrance, into smell, and to oils. Turak shemen turak shemecha, your name is like finest oil. There's a certain name being expressed here. A person's name is a person's reputation. We're talking about that she's expressing his reputation to others. Al ken alamot ha'efucha, therefore maidens love you. So we're mentioning maidens, which are other girls. She's mentioning to her beloved the fact that there's others involved in this. That she's
Who would
not
the others be referring to?
So yeah, we'll have to see that in the Chazal and Rashi. So there's a concept of her mentioning that she's not alone in her love for him, but still, so she's trying to say that she appreciates that he's sought after, and it's a good thing about him that he's not, he's not just
other
a loser.
religions,
Right, etc. If we're talking about Jewish people, then we're talking about other religions or other people. Mashcheni acharecha, draw me after you. Narutza, let us run. This is expressing, because I have this appreciation of you and I have the memories of your kisses, I want you to actually draw me after you. And we're going to see in Rashi that Rashi learns slightly differently. Mashcheni acharecha has another memory she has of a time when she was drawn after him. But in the simple translation, Mashcheni means draw me after you now. We'll see from the Gra how that's referring to the yearning of the Jewish people to be redeemed in the state of exile. Havi'ana melech hadarav, the king has brought me to his chambers. So now she's referring to her beloved as a king. So either that means because it's Shlomo, or because she's saying that you're a king to me. Obviously, if we're talking about Hashem, then it makes more sense. Hashem is the king. He brought me into his chambers. So we're referring to a certain intimacy that she's expressing either in the past or hoping for the future. Nagila v'nesmach habach, let us delight and rejoice in you, in your love. Nazkira dodecha miyayin, we want to savor your love more than wine. Again, mentioning wine. Meisharim ahavucha, righteous ones love you. Okay, so there's a few misnomers in these psukim. If we were learning Alshech, there'd probably be about 50 questions here. But
Alshech has a Pirish on Shirashim, doesn't he?
Yeah. Actually, I didn't find it anywhere in print. I looked in a few shuls. I've only found it on Safari. But there's a constant going backwards and forwards between direct speaking and referring to him as third person. There's all these the allegories of wine and oil and others. So let's jump right in with the Targum. Where do I have it? There we go. So first of all, the Targum in the first passage brings down the 10 different songs that the Jewish people have sang in history. The 9th one being Shir Hashirim, and the 10th one is the song we're going to sing. Mashiach will come. And the Chabad rabbis say the idea that the 9th one is the Mitzvah. It's the bridge between the songs of old and the songs of new. It's like that, the one taking us to Mashiach.
The transformative song.
Yeah, I actually just saw this morning, slightly off topic, but it was because it was Ramchal's Yotza yesterday, and we used to have classes with Ramchal. He says that saying Shema morning and evening is a song that we sing for Hashem. He says that he brings a midrash that when the sun leaves in the morning, in order to receive its energy for the day, it comes to Hashem and sings a song, and that song is basically receiving the energy for the day. And then when it comes back at night, it sings another song, which is kind of bringing back what it achieved that day and what it did. Obviously, it's a very interesting concept, the way to look at creation as appreciating its mission in the world and coming back to connect based on what we've done. And so he says Shema is a person leaving to starting the day and coming back at the end of the day with what we've done that day. So I guess in a way, like the Shir Shirim is more of like an overall song, not necessarily a morning, and maybe that's why the Sephardi people say at the end of the week, kind of a song to bring with us at the end of the week.
Could be that transition to Olam Haba.
Right, Shabbat.
Shabbat is-
Interesting, yeah. So the second pasuk we said is give us the kisses of your mouth. So the Targum, I'm going to read it in English, says, "Blessed be the name of Hashem, who gave us the Torah by the hand of Moshe, the great scribe, inscribed on 2 tablets of stone, and gave us 6 orders of the Mishnah by oral tradition, and conversed with us face to face, as a man who kisses his companion, out of the great love with which he cherished us more than the 70 nations." So how does that fit at all with some translation of the passage? This is what's interesting. So Yishakim Yishikat Pihu, obviously saying, is the face-to-face interaction that happened at Matan Torah, where there was a complete union, where Hashem gave over his entire being to the Jewish people, as the Gemara says in Shabbat, that the word Anochi is acronym for Ana Nafshi Ktavit Yehavit. I have given you my soul, I have written it and given it. And so that is like the expression of Matan Torah being the spirit of Hashem being given over. And it says, so Pihu, we already saw in the Gra that Pihu is Hey and Vav. The mouth had a Hey and a Vav. So the Hey is the 5 books of Moses, and the Vav is the 6 orders of the Mishnah. So that's another allegory that the Targum already mentions.
So what's that got to do with Pihu?
The word Pihu is a strange word because it should be either Piv or Piha. So Pihu is Pi Hey Vav,
Pi Hey Vav, yeah.
and Hey is 5.
And the Vav is 6 Mishnah. So what's the Pei?
P is the mouth. The
Mouth,
mouth
I
experience
see.
of the Hey and the Vav.
I see.
Ki tovim dodecha miyayin, and yayin is gematria 70. So you've loved us more than the other 70 nations and gave us the Torah.
Ah, very nice.
That's like what's being hinted to in the
Very
Torah.
nice.
The next passage continues. This is what Rashi says as well. So we're going to get the Rashi out. We want to do Rashi, and we didn't learn the Rashi on pasuk Gimel. So it says that the shemen turek shemecha, the flow of your oil. So Rashi says Shem Tov Nikra al Shem Shemen Tov. A person having a good reputation, a good shame in the world, good name in the world, is known as good oil. As the pasuk says in Kohelet, Tov Shem Shemen Tov. Right. So good. Why is that? What does oil have to do with a reputation? So he says that Sheherichu behem afsei aretz. The nations of the world smelled your good reputation. As it says in Yehoshua and different psukim, that everybody knew the miracles at the time became worldwide events at the Jordan, at the Kriyat Yamsuf, at Mitzrayim. So Hashem's reputation now became, he got street cred basically from everyone. And this is like oil. Why is it like oil? Because oil is something that has a fragrance that spreads out. Shemen turek shemecha. So Shemen turek shemecha means you are now known as flowing oil. So he says, why is it flowing oil? Because Rashi says that if oil is in a bottle closed up, nobody can smell it. Once you've opened it and poured it out, that causes particles to evaporate and leave into the environment. And that's what happened when the miracles of Mitzrayim happened. Hashem opened his flow of oil and let himself known to the world, and he became known as a miracle, as present in the world with abilities to do as he liked. And therefore, al ken alamot ha'evucha, we said the maidens love you. So Rashi says, what is that referring to? By Yitro. Yitro came, he heard about Hashem's wonders, and he converted. Af Rachav Hazonah. Rachav Hazonah was the innkeeperess, the female innkeeper that, or Zona, whatever Zona means, at the time of Yeshua, and she also converted in the end. She married Yeshua, based on her appreciation of Hashem's wonders. So that's what the passage is describing, that Hashem's wonders spread around the world and it attracted others as well. And then Rashi says, "Mashcheni acharecha narutza." You pulled me in the past, and I ran. So Rashi says, "Mashcheni" means you gave me a little tug, and I ran. So meaning you didn't have to force me, you didn't have to drag me. Just gave me a little pull along, and I ran. And Nishamati mishluchecha. I heard from your emissary, from Moshe. Remez chiba. I heard a hint that you love me, that there's a love between us. I'm yours all the way, I'm your wife forever. So therefore, even though now I am in a situation where we're not anymore in that level of romance because we're in the exile, but still, I remember the good times. I remember the times that were beautiful and delightful.
Which times is it referring to? You talking about before Matan Torah or after?
It sounds like it's talking about the receiving of the Torah. Aviana Melech Hadarav can mean a few things. We'll see the Targum in a minute. It means, the Targum says it means the clouds of glory. It can also mean the Torah. Hashem brought us into His chambers of wisdom and shared with us. Right, like the Torah is Hashem's, it's considered Hashem's treasures. So He brought us into His treasures and shared with us His deepest reality. So there's a certain level, or it can mean Chadarav, can mean the Beit HaMikdash. That would be another version. So either way, we don't have that nowadays, because as the Gaon of Vilna says, that the pasuk in Eicha, and when it refers to the exile, it says that because we're not in Zion, en Torah. When the Jews are not in their place, the Torah, we don't have the Torah anymore. So the Torah that we have now is kind of some kind of replication or remnant. It's not the thing itself, it's because the Torah is in a direct experience of God. It's an actual live revelation happening inside of a soul of a Jewish person. So in exile, that's not so apparent. So the real intimacy of the Torah, of being in the chambers, that is kind of lacking. So, but Rashi says that even though we don't have that now, but still, what do we have now? Rashi says, so originally I ran after you into the desert. So remember the act of love, as we say in the pasuk from Yeremiah, that Ahavat Vatayich, remember the beginning of our love when we ran after you into the desert, the place where there was no water, no vegetation, and you brought us into the clouds of glory. So Rashi actually says that it's clouds of glory, but he says nowadays, even though we don't have that anymore, Odam hayom galim usmechim bo. Af lefi anyam v'tzaratam. Even though we're afflicted and we're going through suffering, mishtashim b'Torah, we still find delight and joy in the Torah. V'sham azkirim dadav v'yayim yishara v'tamato. So Rashi is saying what we have today is the Torah. The Torah is what's left out of all of our more explicit versions of connection to Hashem that we had in the past, like Mishkan and Yitzhak Mitzrayim and all these different times. So what we have now is the Torah, and that's where a person can find that intimacy and love with Hashem, even though it's not as strong as it was or as easily available, let's say. So that's the Rashi. So we're going to go through the Targum now, and Targum says similar things. The Targum says as follows: at the sound of your miracle and might, which you performed for the people, the house of Israel, all the nations who heard the report of your might and good signs trembled, and your holy name was heard in all the earth. It was more choice than the oil of high office with which the heads of kings and priests were anointed. He's referring to Shemen Turek Shemecha is the Shemen HaMishcha, the anointment oil, which the kings are anointed. So that level of Hashem's name being around the world was better than that. And therefore the righteous loved to follow the path of your goodness in order that they may possess this world and the world to come. You say, Mesharim Ahevucha, that those who are righteous loved you, and therefore they followed your path. Then the last pasuk is, when the people of the house of Israel left Egypt, the presence of the Lord of the world was their leader. It went before them with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. The righteousness of that generation said, Master of the world, draw us after you, and we will run after the path of your goodness. So draw us near to the base of Mount Sinai, and give us your laws from your treasure house in Shammai. We will rejoice and be glad with the 22 letters with which they are written, and we will be mindful of them, and we will love your divinity and remove ourselves from idols, and all the righteous who do what is upright in your sight will revere you and love your commands. So it's quite a long version of saying that that when we left Egypt, we asked Hashem to take us to Har Sinai and give us the Torah, and Nagila v'nismecha bach. So this is an interesting remez that the Torah was saying. We will rejoice in the 22 letters of the Torah. Bach is 22. The gematria of Bach is 22. Chaf bet. So the 22 letters of the Torah is what we're rejoicing in. And it's a very interesting midrash that they bring, which says as follows. The midrash says, the pasuk says in Tehillim, Zeh hayom asah Hashem, nagila v'nismecha bach. Nagila v'nismecha bo. So the translation is, Hashem made this day, we will rejoice and be happy in Him, or in it. Bo can either mean in the day, or in the Hashem. So the midrash says, based on this pasuk, I don't know what it's referring to, Hashem, or the day that He made. So when it says, that tells me
That's you.
that it's Hashem.
Yeah.
We're not getting excited about the day. So what's the idea of a day? It says in the Zohar says that the 6 Sfirot are considered 6 days. It says Sheshet Yamim Asa Hashem et Hashamayim et Haaretz. The Zohar says, why does it not say B'Sheshet Yamim? Hashem created the world in 6 days. So the Zohar says that creation itself is the creation of days. When Hashem created the world, what did He really create? He created 6 days. That is the revelation of Hashem. So what that essentially means is that the creation can only be created and be brought down to us through the concept called days, which is a limitation of energy coming down in a limit. A day is a finite amount of time, and that's what Hashem created, is the 6 Sfirot, the 6 days, and Shabbat is the 7th day. So He created the interface, or the version of enclothing the infinite light in the days. So that's why when we say Zeh Yom Asah Hashem, so we're basically saying we don't get distracted by the enclothing of the revelation. We see through it, and our experience is with Hashem. We don't. The whole point of Shir Hashirim is to get rid of the day of the version that we come across. We use it to get through to Hashem itself, and that's what Baal Shem Tov brings up this idea as well. That when we every word of Torah, right? It says mitoch shelo lishma ba lishma. Simple translation is, if we practice learning Torah with the wrong intention, eventually we'll get to the level where we have the right intention. But the Baal Shem Tov says that the Torah, discussing all kinds of interesting ideas and logical concepts and chachma that is brought down to the human level, is inside of it, the toch shelo lishma. So the revealed Torah that we have, the Torah that is humanly understandable, is all called shelo lishma. We're obviously not referring to someone learning for the wrong reason. That's obvious. That's Baal Shem Tov. But what shelo lishma means is not the purpose. The purpose isn't to get stuck in the theoretical. The purpose is to be able to have an experience of Hashem Himself through that. And he says that's why the Arizal used to learn Halacha, and he sometimes he had, Chaim Talix describes, where he had difficulty understanding something, and every time he had difficulty understanding something, he felt that was because there's klipot and different negative forces blocking the Torah's light. So he would sweat and toil till he understood it, and then he would say 6 versions of the pshat according to revealed Torah, and then he would say the 7th version, which was the pnimiyut. So he brings that idea that the point of Torah is to get to the level where we break through the husk of the klipot, and then we also have to break through the version of Torah that is still the outside layer, in order to get to the veikut through the Torah, to the bach, to the chaf beit otiyot, because at the end of the day, the Torah is a combination of the 22 letters. The 22 letters are the raw material. It's the highest, the first version of revelation is the 22 letters. But it's uncomprehendable. All we're going to do with 22 letters, you can't do anything with it. So once you start using it and creating different words and different ideas with these letters, that's already step number 2. So the Torah is different sirufim, different manifestations of the core energy of Hashem's revelation, and we have to kind of come back to the letters, come back to the pure energy that is pure godliness, and the 22 letters of the Torah, the Bach is the Chaf Bet Otiyot.
Interesting that Abu Lafia meditation is on the letters itself. It's to meditate on the letters.
Go back to the source.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the world, in the highest Kabbalah worlds that Rabbi Chaim Vital doesn't even talk about, the Olam HaShashurim and these worlds, it's all there is 22 letters. And then the next step is to take 22 letters, as the Sefer Yetzirah has the wheel of 231 gates of combinations of letters. But the raw, pure godly energy where there's no otherness, all there is 22 letters, that is the purpose of Torah, it's the purpose of life. And obviously it's high levels, but the point is that we should always realize that the point of Torah, the point of the thing is to get to the dveikut, to get a moment of elevation, of connection, and we should merit to receive that with Hashem.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we good?
Chazak Baruch. Thank you.
So tomorrow, you think we'll finish tomorrow? Maybe an Alshech?
It depends how far you want to take us.
Who's coming up now?
Greenberg.
So he's tomorrow as well, someone after.
Who's coming up now?
Tomorrow is a different group afterwards.
But either way, there's someone amazing.
Yeah, there's someone afterwards. Yeah, Baruch Tiyeh.
Yeah, look, I mean, we can't always finish.
Listen, it's fantastic what we're doing. The fact that we have 3 levels of Alshech is a miracle.
I mean, I feel like it's because it's the parasha, so people are more into it.
I think that's it. That it was a great suggestion of yours, and it was. I have to say that it was the right suggestion. Huh?
So is the classes on the rest of the?
So the class in the mornings we have an intermediary class where we actually translate every word of Alshech and try to understand it from first base. And then after that, at 10:30, we have a beginner's class where we're just reading, at the moment, we're just reading the Pasuk of the Torah and understanding it.
Yeah, that's
just
that's
basically
really the base of the Alshech.
Yeah, it's 3 grades.
Yeah, you can't learn Alshech before you've learned the Pasuk on your own.
Exactly. So we're starting with a Pasuk. There's no point otherwise. And then once we've understood the Pasuk and we're then ready to go to the question. So it's actually great that you did this. I was going to suggest for you to do a different part of the thing, but it's good that you did the same thing because it's good chazara for us, and you've taken us much further because we're much slower than your pace. So at least
the questions, you had the questions and the answers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the questions are like creating the vessel.
Exactly.
Where the answer can come into.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a turnout in these classes, or
yeah,
more than
Reuven, myself, and
you can invite those people to come in?
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Chazak Baruch.
Tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're having class on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday?
No, I'll explain to you in a second. Let me just call him because it's late.
Is there someone else coming now?
Yeah.
You're hearing those booms in the background way off?
When now?
Just that 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. They're doing some big bombing. Has Israel responded to what the U.S. has said that we have to stop? We have a deal for you, you have to stop fighting?
No. I haven't heard anything. So basically in the morning we have the 9 o'clock lesson.
Yeah.
It's like an intermediary class lesson. And then at 10:30 we have the beginners class that you are in as well. So we have 2 classes in the morning. The intermediate one and then the beginners one.
Yeah.
So the beginners one is when you actually work yourself on the words.
Yeah.
And the intermediate is try to understand a little bit of the Alshech at the intermediary level.
Which is interesting, like I said, when we, Alshech said, why does he give the date and the time and the place? And I'm thinking, doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a different schedule today, so I gotta go make a run at the Sands, and then I have to go to Rabbi Gonzo. I didn't get it done this morning.
Oh.
So I have to charge out of here. What am I
Okay.
missing?
Well, at the moment you're not missing anything because Tzvi is not here, but there's also Elio at 6:30.
Oh,
Everybody, it seems like there's been a mix-up on the schedule, and so the next class is probably going to be Elio's Yemei Darchei Chachem at 6:30. So we're going to close now until 6:30. Thanks so much.